will stop cheating on an employee because the employees have been kind enough to the employer. Kindness can change anything. And if you ask me, kindness is right at the foundation. Kindness is the way we demonstrate love. If you want to show me you love me, just be kind. Simple. And that is the powerful pull that kindness has on mental health. Because people can stop feeling vulnerable. People can stop feeling weak. People can stop feeling exposed. People can stop feeling like they have lost everything when there is kindness flowing from people to them. Kindness is powerful, very, very powerful. So, to our listeners and those following this conversation, I want to task you about kindness. How can you be kind? The first thing I want you to do is invest time to learn about kindness. Many times, we are simply a function of all we are. And all we are is all we have known to date. But guess what? All that you know is just a drop compared to all that needs to be known.
Yeah.
I'm currently doing a postgraduate course and I'm learning some things in class. And I was telling my friend recently, I said, the things I'm learning in class just expose the fact that I almost know nothing about some things in this life. Like I'm blown. What that tells us is that there is so much we don't know about kindness. We think we know kindness, but we really don't. So when we invest time to learn about kindness, I want you to do a study by yourself. Go on YouTube, go on Google what kindness is, understand the wealth and depth of kindness. The more you build yourself, the more kind you become. Because by nature, we are simply projecting the volume of what we are. The holy books will say, you are going to project the abundance of what is in your heart. So the more you fill yourself up with kindness vibes, the more you are projecting kindness. You don't want to be logically kind. Kindness is not logical. Just like love is not logical. You don't think about being kind. You are just kind. It's something that should flow out of you naturally. Because the more it flows out of you, the more you are healing people around you. You know, there is this ambience about being kind. When you walk past, there's just this feeling people grab like, there's something about this person. That is who you should be. You should be a kindness generating entity. And it's very possible. But how can you be a kindness generating entity? You must invest in learning kindness primarily and being kind. So as you're learning, you're practicing. As you're learning, you're practicing. As you're learning, you're practicing. The next thing that you can do is identify a kind reference. Identify a kind reference. You need to find someone who demonstrates kindness the way you want and the way you admire, and become someone that models after that person. Model after someone that is kind. It's easier that way. So when you identify someone that has been kind to you, model after that kindness. Do as you have benefited from. That's another way to be kind. Do as you have benefited from.
How about kindness to oneself? Like there are people that are not even kind to themselves, so they can't share or reciprocate kindness.
Fantastic question. So the more you learn about kindness, the more you realize that you can't project kindness if you are not kind to yourself. Because if you are not kind to yourself, you will find out that you are struggling to be kind to people because they say we should be kind.
Be kind.
Like we have established before, kindness is not logical. And the only way kindness is not logical is that you are expressing it from you. It is flowing out of you. The only way kindness can flow out of you is that you are kind to yourself. You know, the thing is, what you have not enjoyed for yourself is difficult to give.
Exactly.
It's difficult to give what you have not enjoyed. That is why some people can't accept love. You are trying to love someone, they are blocking you. You know why? They have not loved themselves enough to receive love. You cannot receive what you have not enjoyed for yourself by yourself. So I like your question because, yes, it takes us back to the point where before you aspire to even give love and share love, you need to enjoy kindness for yourself. You need to enjoy kindness for yourself. In emotional intelligence, there is a module we call emotional immunity. And under emotional immunity, there are 13 steps we normally teach under emotional immunity. One of the 13 steps is self-compassion. One of the 13 steps of emotional immunity is self-compassion. We teach people to tell themselves, you know, tap yourself on the back and say, I don't try. I try.
Yeah, you've done well. I've done well. Coach,
you know,
I've done
well.
Us.
You know, go to the mirror, look at the mirror and tell yourself, Sam Obafemi, I try. I try.
You're doing well.
And you know, the funny thing is, God has put on earth every example of what we should be doing. That's why they normally laugh at the lizard. They say the lizard nods at himself and say, I try. And that is very powerful. So we need to learn self-compassion, which is a step in emotional immunity. Now, what's emotional immunity? Emotional immunity is a skill of emotional intelligence where you protect your heart from emotional problems and mental problems intentionally. Just like we have, you know, our immune system where the white blood cells protect us from diseases and infections. That is how emotional immunity aims to protect you at the emotional and mental level. And some of the steps of emotional immunity says, it is inevitable that trouble will happen in this life.
Definitely.
So when trouble happens, don't stay stuck and say, why me, oh, why me, oh, why? Just tell yourself, oh, you're doing well. Just move, you know. So those are some of the things you need to focus on being kind to yourself, because the truth is, every 24 hours you have done really well keeping yourself. And every time you find that a particular situation is overwhelming you, see it as feedback that there is a gap you need to build on. Because the thing is, emotions are feedback. The emotions you feel is feedback to you what you don't have information about. It tells you the gaps that you are suffering from. So when someone maltreats you and you feel hurt, it is feedback to you that there is a part of treating maltreatment that you have not dealt with. But the thing we do around here is we hold on to the person that has offended us as the person has committed an offense. No, it's not about anybody. Whatever someone does to you is more about them than about you. You are just suffering from a projection. And if you turn the tables around, there is also someone suffering from you based on your projection.
Yeah.
Which
I saw
means
a post that said you're a villain in someone's story.
Big time. The thing is, you will always be the cause of someone's pain until you build your capacity to minimize it. Now, is it possible to never be someone's pain? It's almost impossible, because people have different interpretations to what we do. But the thing is, when what you do and what you project is rooted in kindness, which is a proof of love, then you find that to the best of your knowledge, you are being kind. But you realize that because people are broken and wounded and dysfunctional, sometimes even your kindness is an offense to someone else.
Exactly.
So it's a very complicated conversation. But then, provided you are driven by love, you realize that your being kind becomes natural. So first step, develop appetite for learning about kindness.
Second appetite. I'm jotting that.
Yes, develop appetite to learn about kindness, to develop knowledge about kindness, develop that appetite. You have to build an appetite for it. It's not something you just say, when we get to the bridge, we'll cross it. No, you need to start learning about kindness. Number 2 is practice it for yourself. Show yourself kindness. One of the ways I show myself kindness is I maintain zero negative energy. Zero. I don't even want it for my head. I don't want any form of negative disruptions, negative energy, negative bias. I don't tolerate some kind of energies and environment. I don't. Gossips, backstabbing, negative vibes, negative. No. I don't even tolerate. Like, I block it. That is me being kind to myself.
To yourself.
Because I don't want to expose my mental health to a narrative or a story or any impression that will now get me thinking negative. I don't want to do that to myself. So that's the second step. Show yourself kindness by practicing it. Practice what you are learning. The first step was to grow an appetite to learn kindness. The second step is practice the thing you are learning on yourself. Enjoy kindness. And to enjoy kindness will take me back to the first thing I said. Learn to say no. When an energy is approaching you that you know you don't like and you don't want to tolerate or accommodate, say no. Block it. Avoid it. Then number 3, teach people kindness in your actions. Teach people kindness in your actions. Now, I'm not saying go and start classes and gathering people and say, I want to teach you kindness. No. By being kind, you're actually teaching us what kindness looks like. By being kind. I remember someday someone told me that, how are you able to maintain your open-mindedness, your liberal disposition, your gentle, despite the things people have done to you? People have dealt with me in this life. Like, if I have to start thinking of what, but guess what? I'm unable to not be me. Because over the years, unfortunately, yes, I came from a background where my parents taught me a lot of kindness. I give them a lot of credit for that. And over the years, I have equally exposed myself to kind practices. I have intentionally stayed on course. So it's difficult for me now to undo kindness. And that's something that is doable. The more you do something, the more it becomes autopilot for you. In fact, in neuroscience, we say for your brain to recognize a habit, it takes 21 days. And for your brain to be overwhelmed by a habit, which means it becomes subconscious, it takes 63 days. Which means that if you tell yourself, I want to be kind, I'm a kind man, I'm kind to people, I enjoy kindness, I am kind to myself, I am kind to people. By 21 days, your brain takes notice that, okay, we are kind, we are kind, we are kind, we're a kind soul. By the 63rd day, your brain does not even need notice. It becomes part of you automatic.
It's part of it, yeah.
So if you then develop the habit of being kind, over time it becomes autopilot. And then the fourth thing I'll say, which is the last, is stick to kindness.
Stick to kindness.
Make it an ideology. Suspend the reason for being kind. Don't have a reason for being kind. Paulo Coelho, the author of The Alchemist, in one of his books, I think Made in Accra is the title of the book, if I'm not mistaken. He said, there is no reason for loving. We just love. If you have to develop a reason for showing kindness, it means that there is a reason for not showing kindness. So when you are learning to be kind and you are building kindness, you must suspend the reason for being kind. Don't say, I'm kind to Salihat because she's beautiful. I'm kind to Tunde because he's tall. I'm kind to Hadia because she's nice. I'm kind to my friend because he gives me money. I'm kind to this one because of that one. Once there is a because, it means that the moment that because does not exist, you stop being kind.
You switch.
Suspend reasons for being kind. Just be kind because kindness is who you are. And for me, like I said, that's the only proof that you love. If you can prove to me that you love, let me see that you are kind naturally. That's the way I look at it.
That was very, very nice. I have lots of notes. I was taking notes as you were talking. Very interesting. I'm learning new things, and I love that.
Sorry.
Yes. I've been seeing lots of questions coming in.
Yes.
And, yeah.
I've
you
been
want
seeing
us to
them.
take
Let
the
me see.
questions now?
Yes, let's take the questions now.
Let's see. So we have this. Is it hereditary?
Okay, so all behaviors are not hereditary. All behaviors are not hereditary. All behaviors are learned. Everything we have become in this life, we learned it. And the same way we can unlearn all behavior. So all the behaviors that you are demonstrating today, you learned it, you know, like we said, when you were conceived, you were already learning. Even while in your mother's womb, you were learning because the vibrations were teaching you things at the subconscious level. And your auditory sense was already interpreting stuff to your brain. So even in conception, the child was already learning some value system and was creating a meaning, because human beings are meaning-making machines. And at every level, we're creating a meaning based on what we know per time. So a child is already creating a meaning and learning a habit. And as we're growing, the more our awareness is expanding, we're reinventing our meanings. So kindness is not hereditary, it is learned.
It is learned.
As
Like
we
all other
observe
behaviors.
as we observe our parents and the people that are influences over us, we are learning over time. And all for the rest of our lives, we're always learning something. So when the moment we call it the law of reference, the moment there is someone you look up to, whatever they do has the capacity to change what you have learned. So
I
just
have
like,
one more here for you.
Yeah, so that's the way it is. All habits are learned. Then I see a question. Do you think spirituality has a lot to do with kindness? Having said you can't give what you haven't received, but having a guideline or possibly spiritual connection can then and give that backing. Well, the truth is, spirituality by nature comes with a lot of fruits, including kindness. What is spirituality? Let's define that word. Spirituality is understanding God. That's spirituality. Spirituality has nothing to do with being a Christian or a Muslim or a monk or a Buddhist or it has nothing to do with because the religion is the modalities for practicing spirituality. That's what it's intended to be. A religion is supposed to be a vehicle for practicing spirituality. Spirituality by itself is actually understanding God. If you understand God, you will learn kindness, because the holy books teach you what to do. The holy books instruct you on how to think. The holy books instruct you on how to treat people. So based on spirituality alone, you will learn kindness. But let's ask ourselves the true question. How many of us are actually spiritual? That's the fundamental problem. So the fundamental problem is not that spirituality has affected us. It's just that we are not actually spiritual. We are actually religious. Because religion says, don't accommodate those people of that other religion. Don't laugh with them. Don't do business with them. Don't marry them. Don't this, don't that. That is what religion does. Religion creates boundaries. Spirituality is liberal, is open, is accommodating. In fact, if you practice spirituality, because of the love and kindness you will be projecting, people will be attracted to your practice of spirituality. That is why people convert to other religions. You know why? They have seen in that other religion a kind of practice that is attractive to them. But guess what? John Maxwell says people don't leave organizations or religions. People leave people.
Yeah.
Which means that it is because of someone's lack of kindness that I'm going to live where I am. People leave Islam to another religion, or they become atheists because someone in that religion was not kind to them, and they say, you know what, if this is what it means to be a Muslim, I'm not doing. So spirituality is fundamental because it means you are learning God. And if you are learning God, you will be kind. That one is certain. So that's the relationship between spirituality and kindness. The next question I see here is, please hammer on that parents don't teach children kindness again. Well, instead of hammering on parents, I'm going to say that parents should go back to where they were wounded. The reason why many parents don't teach kindness is because even they are hurting from an offense. So a typical example, I remember that one of the problems plaguing Nigeria today is the Igbos have issues with the Yorubas have issues with the Hausas. Every tribe is trying to fight every tribe. Why? Because from history, things have happened. wars, riots, betrayals, snitching. Different things have happened in our history. In the last 40 years, 60 years, things have happened. So every parent has grown now with some form of protective behavior, and they're telling their children, be careful. You can't marry an Ibira. You can't marry Igbo. You can't marry Yoruba. You can't marry Hausa. You can't marry this. You can't marry that. Why are they saying that? They are speaking from the place of hurt. They are speaking from the place of wound. They are speaking from a place of offense. So a parent cannot teach a child kindness when they themselves have not healed.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to tell parents to teach their children kindness. I'm going to tell parents, please get healing. Because as you are healing, you will teach kindness. It's natural. You can't teach what you have not healed from. So go and get healing, and by the grace of God, you will teach kindness.
If I can add to that. Like, that's why it's very important for this mental health awareness, because if you, the child, is aware of the mental health issues, problems that comes, and you see traits in your parents, you yourself can make the effort to help them and also break the chain.
Yes, very true. Very, very, very valid. I remember this happened to me actually. My mom used to say, there was this lady I was dating that time. My mom would say, you know the people from that tribe? You know, I said, Mom, see, in our own tribe, do we not have people that are also like that? She said, but you know that it's not as if they're meant. I said, well, provided there is one person in my tribe that behaves like that person in that tribe, all of us are the same. That was the only way I could counter it. So yes, you're very correct. You as a growing child can help your parents think differently. And the central point here is all of us need to learn how to heal. We all need to heal. We all need to heal. Kizzy O says, do you still show kindness to people who do not appreciate it? Well, that's why we said, don't give reasons for being kind. That's the fourth point I raised earlier. Suspend the logic of why I should be kind. Because if you say, but I've been showing kindness, they are not appreciating it, so I will not show again. You have already given reason for being kind. You are not kind because people should appreciate it. You are kind because you are kind. Simple. Your kindness is coming from you being kind, being a person, a fountain of kindness, not from a place of people should respond to your kindness. It's a tough journey. Sometimes it's very difficult. Sometimes the person you are being kind to is even intentionally scheming to kill you. It's difficult, but then, you need to think of it that way. Can bullying lead to mental problems? Absolutely. 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 Bullying can lead to mental health challenges. And inclusive of that is bullying can affect your self-esteem intensely. Bullying can severely impact on your ability to trust people. Bullying can impact on your ability to make friends and keep friends. Bullying can impact severely on your confidence. So bullying has a lot of repercussions, a lot actually. And for weaker personalities, especially people who have absence of support systems, bullying can lead into depression, substance use because you don't want to logically process the pain, and sometimes can lead to suicide. So bullying can lead to a spectrum of problems. Very, very much. That's why I suffered bullying in primary 4 and primary 5. Till today, when I see a bullying behavior, there is that trigger. Sometimes I tell myself I still need to heal from bullying because bullying is crazy. So yes, it can lead to mental problems, and we should collectively not tolerate bullying. And now bullying has taken different shades and sizes. There's the physical bullying, there's the cyber bullying, there is that subtle coercive bullying. Bullying takes different shades. At the workplace, there is bullying. Among friends and peers, there's bullying. If you come online, there's someone will bully you online. In school, someone will bully you. In the office, somebody will bully you. Even in your home, somebody may be bullying you. So bullying takes a lot of angles. But collectively, when someone infringes on your rights and choices, that is bullying. Simple. The moment someone is infringing on your choices and rights, that is already bullying. That means they are coercing you to do things their way, or they are taking from you what you don't deserve to let go of, or you don't want to let go of. So we need to collectively resist bullying because it impacts on mental health directly.
Do you have any coping mechanisms for bullying?
So the first thing to do about bullying is you need to speak up. When somebody is harassing or intimidating or coercing you, you need to report to someone that has influence. That's it, because sometimes you don't have the capacity by yourself to solve it. So you need to report that situation. In other cases, like the online situation, you need to remove yourself from that scenario. You need to remove yourself from that scenario, because sometimes we're trying to reciprocate, we're trying to reply, we're trying to forget our way back. No, you don't need to convince anybody about your position. That's another thing I've learned. You don't need to convince anybody what you believe and why you believe what you believe. Because sometimes some people want to bully you into believing what they believe. You don't owe anybody an explanation. Whatever you believe is your prerogative and your entitlement. So sometimes remove yourself from a conversation that is even stressing your mind. 1, report. Number 2, remove yourself from that conversation. Then number 3, build capacity to actually change the narrative. There's been times somebody will come to my timeline and try to do some gra 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 gra. I will just have a way of changing the narrative and say, I think, how can I help you? I normally do that. There was a day I was on AIT on Morning Line with Nancy Ilo, and I was talking about the impact of corona on the society and all that. And someone came to my Twitter handle and was harassing me. Why did I say that? What I said was wrong. I must be a politician. I've stolen money, blah, 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 blah. My reply to the lady was, I don't think I am your problem, and I would like to help you. What is the real challenge? What is the challenge you have with what I've said? I can help you, because I'm not sure I'm your problem. That was the last conversation. She didn't reply again. So sometimes you need to change the narrative. Instead of feeling like the victim and feeling attacked, you can actually make the person know that, bros, if I say you get small issue there somewhere, how can I help? Once you throw in that line, you have changed the narrative. You're on top of the game. So those are strategies, but like I said, like I always like to advise, don't take my words for it. Go and do a bit of research. Read, because the more you know, the more confident you are. And the more confident you are, the more courageous you become. So it's very, very important to be someone that reads. You need to read in the area that you lack capacity. You need to read to build capacity in the areas that you see a gap. So once you find that you are suffering, like I said earlier, your emotions are a message, they are a feedback to you. Once you see you are suffering emotionally or mentally in a particular area, go and start reading about it. You realize that you know more and you're able to overcome it better. One question here is, do you
so
have
this
to
one
be...
is from me.
Okay. Do you have to be a doctor?
Because I get asked a lot, and
Yes.
I want you to what's it called, hammer on it, so people know that you can actually advocate for mental health without being a doctor. It's just something.
Fantastic. Good question. Do you have to be a doctor to be a mental health advocate? I love this question because one thing I have always said is mental health is not a medical issue. Mental health is a social issue. It's a social challenge. It's not a medical challenge. That's why earlier we said when we have a support system, people heal faster from mental health challenges. So it is a social problem. It's a problem of support, acceptance, understanding, love, showing kindness. It's not a drug, take medicine, take injection. No, it's not. Mental health can degenerate to the point where it requires clinical support. It can degenerate to the point where it requires psychiatric support. But primarily, mental health is a social problem. And because it is a social problem, means that you don't have to be a medical doctor to be a mental health advocate. In fact, there are tons of medical doctors that don't even understand mental health.
Yeah, very true.
So if it was a medical problem, they would probably have been taking that course in medical school. They call it medical school. In medical school, I think it's medical school they call it. Dr. Ozaz is online. So if it was narrowed to a medical problem, then it should have been taught in medical school. But it's a social problem, and I encourage everyone, you need to be interested in understanding mental health, because there are some basic things that happens that we don't even know is a mental health spectrum. Things like food consumption, digestion related issues, eating disorders, sleeping disorders. These are social problems that have degenerated to the point where you eat, your system cannot even process the food. You want to sleep, your system cannot just sleep. Loneliness to a degree can become a mental health challenge. And that's a social problem. Relationship problems is a social problem and is a mental health challenge. So mental health challenges come in different pockets and sizes. While everybody is not a mental health expert, everybody should be a mental health enthusiast before you can become an advocate. The first place to start from is being an enthusiast, which means you need to understand what it is first. You need to be interested in learning what is this thing called mental health, how does it impact on me first. Then you can now start advocating. Advocating means promoting it, talking about it, sharing about it, getting more people to know about it, and knowing how people can get help. And please, just like the action plan,
you have to be mentally well first before you can assist people.
Yes. And just like the action plan of World Health Organization suggests, you need to come to a point where you must explore professional support, either as a person suffering or for someone suffering. We don't recommend that you just say, I'm a mental health expert, let me help you. There are boundaries to these things. There is a point where your skill set and your license, because some people don't even know there is a license, your license does not permit you to do some things. So it is very important to be careful, but it's okay to be an enthusiast, no problem. It's okay to be an advocate, no problem. But please don't say you're an expert unless you are licensed to do so. Then the question
I know we have limited time, so this will be the last one because you have to go. Yes.
Some drugs cause mental problems, right? Oh, automatic. Yes. Some drugs. Well, first and foremost, medically, there's what we call side effects to some drugs, but also some drugs actually can lead to more mental health problems. Now, let's even look at it this way. Even for clinical intervention, to some cases like depression, where some people use antidepressants, and so like bipolar, where there is some medical recommendation and drugs and pills, even at that professional ethical level, those drugs still have impacts, because the longevity of use and the addictiveness. I've met some people who are sickle cell carriers, and because some of them have bone challenges, and they have to be using drugs because of the pain, like tramadol. And then just to deaden the pain, they became used to tramadol, and it became a problem. So even for legitimate use of drugs, it can lead to mental health problems, let alone irresponsible use of drugs. So generally speaking, the use of drugs has its own severe impact. That is why, please don't use a drug unless your doctor gives it to you. And for mental health related issues, I prefer that you use a psychiatrist, because a psychiatrist is primarily a doctor, a medical doctor. They understand the kinds of drugs and the impact. And sometimes they do an assessment with you to know the kinds of drugs that may not be good for your physiology and your psychology. Let's try this one. Don't just say, I heard, I saw, this, no, don't do that. Don't just pick a drug and just start using. Don't just pick a drug from the shelf or from a pharmacy and just say, my friend is using so, me too, I'll go and buy it. That's why I'm not mentioning any name of any drug. So that you don't go picking drugs at random. So these are the things we should observe. Drugs can lead to more mental health problems. Please always use a doctor, please.
Thank you so much, Coach Sam. This has been so insightful. And I know you
Thank
have
you,
to go.
Salihat.
We have more questions, but I'll get back to you on that. Thank you very much.
You can send that
So
to
before
me.
you go, I'm going to post this, and I'll post detail of Coach Sam, and feel free to contact him. He does anger management classes, stress
Yeah.
management, different. It's a one-stop place. So thank you so much once again for
Thank you for having
honoring our
me,
invite.
Salihat.
I've learned
And
more today, and it's always a pleasure.
thank you so much. I can see the entire
Thank you.
family online. Thanks to
Ah.
everyone. I celebrate everyone. Thank you
You
for
are the
having
number
me.
one enthusiast.
Yes, it's so good to work with
Thank
you every
you
time.
very
God bless
much.
you.
Thank you
All
very much.
right.
God bless you and have a lovely day.
You too.
All right, then. Bye.
Bye.
That was the end of our session with Coach Sam. I hope it was very useful. And feel free to still leave your questions in the comments because I'll be posting these. And thank you all for joining. And I hope you are more mentally aware today from this session. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I really appreciate. And I noticed some people are just tuning in, but I'll post this so you can catch up on what happens today. Thank you. Bye.